been 10 days since Tonga was devastated by an undersea volcanic eruption and an ensuing tsunami. The Red Cross there says people in the capital, Nuku'alofa, are still struggling to deal with volcanic ash. Over 6,000 litres of water has reportedly been distributed on the main island, whilst the outer islands still lack access. Families are asking their children to stay indoors and church services are cancelled. The disaster has also nearly destroyed the country's agriculture sector. International aid is beginning to arrive, but the Red Cross says the devastation has taken a toll on people's mental health. Journalist Marian Kupu has more from Nuku'alofa.
I'm currently in Nuku'alofa, the capital of Tonga. As you can see behind me, there are vehicles coming and queuing. It's been busy since 8 o'clock this morning. People just driving into the Nuku'alofa area just to go to the banks to receive their financial support from their families overseas, and also to use the internet connection to call and chat their loved ones around the world. I visited the village of Maufanga near Nuku'alofa area, and what I saw was people still cleaning up roads. They use the ashes to build road bumps to slow vehicles down from speeding.
I have a bakery, but I can't even open it now because of the ash in the bakery and my home. What I need most, besides clean water, is someone who can help me start making bread, but no one has time to work due to the ash. We've swept much of it, and we utilize it in other ways. For instance, the cars are always going too fast, so we dump it on roads as barriers to prevent cars from going too fast.
What I'm wearing now, covering my head with the scarf and also wearing a mask, this is due to the dust. So a lot of people, this is the dress code for Tongans right now, as we fight and battle with ashes from the volcano.
Tonga's Minister for Trade and Economic Development, Viliami Uasike-Latu, says the country is now in the process of rebuilding and that there is an urgent need for drinking water, food, medicine and other supplies.
I think the people of Tonga, they really need now clean water, and they need some kind of machine that they can have at home so that they can make the water cleaner for drinking, and that is very basic now for the people. They really need drinking water, and apart from that, food like rice and flour, any noodles, especially for those who suffer the most. And also they need, at the moment, people are currently cleaning their homes, especially they're trying to remove the ashes and the dust from their roofs, and also the basic medical supplies, and it's really urgent for the people of Tonga at the moment.
International aid from New Zealand, Australia and Japan arrived in Tonga over the weekend. For the details on international aid efforts, let's go to Owen Poland, who's in Auckland, New Zealand. Owen.
Over the past 48 hours, Young, 3 flights have arrived from Australia, bringing much needed food, water, medical supplies and telecommunications equipment to help Tonga reconnect to the outside world. Aircraft from New Zealand and Japan have also brought in emergency supplies, and ships are now on their way from Australia and the United Kingdom to join 2 New Zealand Navy vessels that are already in Tonga supporting the relief effort. The International Red Cross says it's also activated an emergency plan to help almost 8,000 people with shelter and essential household items. And Tonga's Emergency Management Organisation has asked Fiji to help with a list of the most needed supplies, like shovels, wheelbarrows and brooms, to help locals clean up the huge amount of volcanic ash from the eruption. The families who have suffered the most damage have also been given a cash handout of around $235 from the Tongan government, and there's been additional payments made to 6,000 elderly people who live off very small monthly pensions. Over the next day or so, Tonga will receive $20 million in emergency funding from the international community, and that'll help with the cleanup and repairs to basic services like hospitals, However, the World Bank says that the 20 million is just the beginning, because much more money will be needed to rebuild Tonga over the long term, including repairs to that broken undersea communications cable that cost Tonga $16 million to install. What's more difficult to assess is the emotional cost of this disaster, and aid workers say the psychological impact of the eruption and the tsunami that destroyed homes and villages is likely to affect some people for a very long time, Yang.
Thanks so much, our correspondent in Poland in Auckland. China is also looking to provide further aid to Tonga. We're joined now by He Weiwei, who's in Guangzhou. Weiwei, so what's China providing to Tonga? Well, I am now at a warehouse in South China's Guangzhou, and China now is preparing a new round of emergency supplies to Tonga. And right behind me is the warehouse, and actually this morning, this is where the supplies are put and gathered. And actually starting from this morning, a number of trucks has arrived at this location transporting goods. As you can see, this is one of the trucks. Let's take a look what we have here. We look at the label here. Actually, we have canned pork here. This is part of the supplies, and they are all packed in boxes. And also here we see a poster provided by China. It shows that these supplies is part of the supplies provided by China Pacific Island countries reserve of emergency supplies. And this joint reserve was established in December 2021. And also we have a slogan here written, "We are united as one under the same sun." It's written in 3 languages, in Chinese, in English, and also in the language of Tonga. And all the supplies, actually, they include 3 major categories. The first is drinking water and food, which is the most needed according to local people. And the second category is medical supplies, including, for example, masks, goggles, gloves, and protective suits. And the third category is mainly some mechanical devices like water pumps and electricity generators, which will help local people for their restoration. And all the supplies will be ready within today, and they will be sent to Tonga as soon as possible. And also, China's efforts to help Tonga is not just in Guangdong here, but also in other places. And actually today, the China's embassy in Fiji has provided also a new round of emergency supplies worth of 1 million RMB, including food, drinking water, and medical supplies. And they are just sent out this morning and will arrive in Tonga on Thursday, that's 27th of this month. And we hope that these supplies will help local people to rebuild their homeland. Back to you. Thanks, Weiwei. Appreciate it. CGTN's He Weiwei in Guangzhou.